Today we're going to look at a reading strategy called visualization. Good readers make images and movies in their minds as they read, thinking about all five senses. This helps us build rich detail and provides better understanding of what we are reading. Now let's practice visualizing as we read A Long Walk to Water.
I'm going to think about how Selva feels, what he can smell, and also what he hears.
As we read, close your eyes and try and make a picture in your mind.
He clung to Uncle like a baby or a little boy, hanging onto his hand or shirt tail when he could, never letting Uncle get further than an arm's length away. Okay, now let me think about what that feels like. Well, the first thing I'm thinking of is that he could probably feel the shirt of Uncle, so I'd write that in. He could feel the shirt of his uncle, and also the warmth of his body. Because he's holding on pretty tightly, I'm thinking that his hands are probably a bit sweaty. And also that he's scared and anxious. He would be feeling very worried. He looked around constantly. Every movement in the grass was a lion stalking, every stillness a lion wanting to spring. Okay, now let's think about what that sounds like for Selva. So he's pretty scared and looking around, so I think that he would be aware of every sound. So he'd probably hear things like the grass underneath his feet. He'd probably hear things like twigs snapping. Possibly he'd hear the wind. People talking around him. Walking in footsteps. And because he is scared, I think he'd probably feel his heart beating quite hard in his chest. Now, what would this smell like? Okay, so using all the words and the description in the book, the first thing I think of is that he could probably smell the grass, the dry grass underneath his feet. And also just the smell of his uncle. He's very close to his uncle. Because they've been walking for a long time, I think that they would also be able to smell the sweat of other people. We did mention earlier that he'd been holding on to his uncle's hand for a long time.
How have you used the clues from the text and what we've talked about here to build a movie or image in your head about Selva's experiences? Now it's your turn. I'm going to read a paragraph from page 43 of A Long Walk to Water. As I do, I want you to try and build a detailed picture in your mind about what's happening. Selva staggered forward with yet another enormous load of reeds in his arms. Everyone was busy. Some people were cutting down the tall papyrus grass by the water's edge. Others, like Selva, gathered up the cut stalks and took them to the boat builders. Now, on the sheet we've given you, we want you to try and convey the movie or image you have in your head onto the piece of paper by drawing a picture. Make sure you include as much detail as you can. And anything you can't draw, like emotions and feelings and smells, write down in the boxes below. We want to try and get an idea of what the image you have in your head is.